So, welcome back. This is the next video, and in this video, we're going to be talking about another early chapter in the books, and it's market research. I know that's a term or terms that people throw around loosely, but market research is very important when starting out and making that transition, or even when you're in transition. Market research is important because, especially in today's society, things and trends change. So, once what was popular 3-4 years ago, or maybe even 3-4 months ago, may not be flowing like it was before. So, for example, or 3 days ago. So, for example, I'll use the example of something like phone books or, Blockbuster, something like that. Let's say somebody wants to get into that space. Well, that market research will tell you very vividly and clearly that that's probably not a space you want to get into in 2026. So, that's a kind of extreme example, but market research is very important and very pivotal in today's society when doing business. And, we're just going to kind of highlight that in this video.
Yeah. And so, when we started our business in 2016, we didn't really do any market research. I feel like we just knew that we had a space that we could utilize, and we said, okay, well, let's just try it. So I think it kind of started off more as a hobby, I would say, because we didn't know what the research was. We didn't know what we would need as far as expenses. We thought we knew, but we didn't have it planned out to the detail. So it was kind of something we just jumped into. Yeah,
and what Chris is talking about, for those that aren't familiar with us, we are in the hospitality space, and specifically one of the business ventures that we have is Airbnb short-term rentals. And starting out back in 2016, we didn't do any market research. We just knew we had a property, we put it on Airbnb and let it go. But the lack of market research left us with a lot of questions and a lot of money on the table, and also cost us a lot of money because we ended up getting audited. And we'll talk about that in another chapter of the book because of that lack of market research. So market research not only helps you to give you a general scope of what the market is asking for, but at the same time, it's also going to show you if it's something you should get into from a financial standpoint. Can you afford it? Can you do so? So that chapter is very pivotal, and not just from a generic standpoint when you talk about market research or whatever business you're doing. And then, like I say, even if you're just starting out, market research will tell you whether you should set it up, your corporation up as a sole proprietor, which I don't really care for, but sole proprietor or S corp or C corp or different type of LLC. It's going to help you with that. So market research is very important starting now.
Yeah, definitely can save you time and save you money, and that's what we want to do when starting out. You may not have a lot of money to just to mess around with, so you definitely want to research your area for your product or service.
Yeah, and it's also going to give you, your competitors, ideas of where they're going. It's going to tell you what demographics you want to go after, who's your ideal customer or client. All that is done in your market research phase, even now, and as we continue to grow and expand. So you want to have that phase in your business early.
And it's good to keep doing that. I mean, just because you do it before you start your business doesn't mean that, once I've done it once, I don't need to go back and revisit it again, because like you said, we're in a very trendy lifestyle right now. And so what was popular 2 months ago, 6 months ago, it's probably not going to be the same. So you definitely want to make sure you keep doing your research to make sure that what you're doing or the product or service you're offering is valid. You definitely want to go off of customer feedback and reviews too. I mean, your customer, the person who is buying your product or service, they're definitely going to tell you, can we use this? Is it being used? Do we see value in it? And that's definitely something that, you want to take into consideration for whatever product or service you have.
Yeah, so use your market research for data analysis, and then you compile all that information and come up with pro formas and certain spreadsheets that kind of help you structure your business. And once again, guys, we will remember we're setting up our business and our corporation as professional as we can be. So when you talk about making that transition, you want to have all this stuff and all these documents professional that can be not in the world but also on paper. So that way, when people come to you and want to do business with you, or they want to get loans from the bank and things of that nature, everything is clean and cut and dry. And that market analysis and market reports will help along with that.
Yeah, you definitely want to have all that stuff being organized.
Right.
Organized in your research and in everything else that you have going on with your business.
Yeah, and we're in the AI age now, so that's one good place to start. Getting on your Chat GPTs and your Geminis and all those different AI platforms to put in what your service is or your product is, to let them do some data analysis for you to see if it's good. So, for example, you might put something in there that you're thinking about. Starting some type of landscape business, or you're transitioning to a full-time landscape business, but you want to, service a certain zip code or area. You can put that in, Chat GPT and say exactly that, and give me some feedback. Some market trends in that area. The cost. What can I charge for that area based on competition? That's all considered market analysis and market research.
Yeah, and it's nice the technology that we have now, because it makes it easy. Something that could have taken you months before, and a lot of headache, is something as quick as just typing in a few keywords and key phrases and finding that out. And it's also nice that we can use that technology in our business. So definitely do market research on keeping an eye out on how technology can help you promote your products, your service, and what you have going on.
Chris got a little friend right here.
Yeah, so definitely use the technology to your advantage. I think I'm one that I really don't care for change, but I have seen how different technologies can help and make things faster. So I'm definitely trying to adapt and be flexible.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are some things, or some different ways that you have used market research, or how did you use it prior to ChatGPT?
Yeah, so prior to ChatGPT and certain AI platforms, it was old school search engines. Getting on Google, going to brick and mortar places to see if it's a trend for that or if it's a market for that. So once again, we talked about like Airbnb and short-term rentals. Once we figured out that that's something we wanted to turn into a full-time business and no longer a hobby, we had to see what the market says about that. Can we do it in a certain location and area? Are people traveling enough to this zip code or this area or Huntsville to scale up? Is it a need for that? And we had to, use those search engines before all of AI and all these things. And it was a lot of work, a lot of groundwork. But nowadays with AI and things, it makes it easier. But you still have to put in the work and prompt AI to give it the information and the data to give you that feedback.
Yeah, and then once you have that, it's nice too that you're able to use the technology to keep track of who you've talked to. So that way you can market to, people that you're interested in selling your product or service to. It makes it easy as far as doing marketing for getting your product out there. So entrepreneurship, it can be exciting, it's challenging, it can be a journey, but it's definitely something that is easy to get into if you utilize the tools to your advantage. I shouldn't say easy, but it makes it easier.
Makes it easier for sure, and it saves you a lot of time. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, time is the most important factor. But along with time, it saves you money in the long run. So anyway, that's the next chapter, or the next chapter we're discussing in the video is market research, and we'll continue to do videos and dissect the book. And if you don't have a copy of the book, check the description. There will be a link to it so you can get your own copy. And we thank you in advance for your support. And once again, if you have any questions or comments or whatever, put them down there. I'll be happy to answer them. And if you have even a more direct question or want some strategy, go to our website. That'll be in the comments as well. And you can connect with Caress and I, and we'll be happy to guide you along on your 9-to-5 transition into full-time entrepreneurship. So thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you next time.